Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Creative Rat podcast by Alex, and that's me. Today we are going to talk about description and senses, the five senses, and what does description have to do with the five senses, and then we're also going to talk a little bit about sight and yeah. But before we go all that, I just want to tell you that once again, all the information is in the episode description, so check it out. There's a link to join my mailing list, my social media links, like link to buy my book, Revenge Undone, like all the links are down there, so check it out. And yeah, let's get on to the business. Okay, so description. I think I have an episode about description, but I think that was a very like a scratch on the surface basically. Uh, but this time I want to talk to you about like lively description that focuses on all the five senses. And I'm going to start by saying that most writers often rely on sight a bit too much. Actually, a little like way too much. You can't rely just on sight. There's other senses. There's four more senses. Like, um, let's say for example, your main character walks into kitchen or I don't know cafe or restaurant or this like dining hall in a beautiful castle. If there's food, there's likely a scent. Like, what does the food smell like? Or if there's, I don't know, a rotting body or something in a thriller or horror story or something, there's a smell. There's often a smell. Actually, in most cases, there's a smell. Some people have their own smell. Some use like different perfume and so on. So, scent. People use that way too little. Um, and I mean, obviously, you can do this at the editing stage, so you don't have to worry about it like in the first draft. But on the other hand, you can try to like include it in your like try to do it automatically, basically, like uh acknowledging all the five senses. Like, what does your character feel? Like touch. Like, I don't know. Let's say she for now our main character is going to be a female. Um let's say she runs her hand down a wooden table. What does it feel like? Is it rough or is it like I mean obviously a wooden table is hard. You don't have to tell your you don't have to tell your readers that, but like is it rough? Is it I don't know. Or if there's a kiss scene, there's usually I mean your characters are kind of like I don't know, maybe they have their arms around one another or something. It feels like something. They feel something. They are touching the other person. Is he warm or she? Whatever. Uh, like two characters are like kind of like embracing one another or cuddling or kissing or something. It feels like something to both of them. And depending on whose like point of view is it, like what does it feel like to that person? Like is the other person warm? Is the other person like for example lips can be rough or perhaps the other person used so much lip balm or maybe they just licked their lip, maybe they're moist. I don't know. I'm not going to go into details because I don't know what kind of scenes you're writing, but go into more details. But like there's so much you could tell, and then what does your character hear? And don't use the word hear. Just say the birds were chirping, chirp. I can't even speak right now. Just tell the sound. Like, I mean, show the sound and don't tell that your character hears it. If you write that, um, so, like, I don't know, um, a thud echoed through the hall or something, your readers are going to assume your character is going to hear that unless they're deaf. But then they probably know the character is deaf. So that's a whole another story. But like, let's say your character isn't deaf or like hard of hearing or anything. Let's say she or he or they are like they have all the senses and they have no like disabilities in this scenario, just for the sake of this lesson. And I mean, I don't know, maybe your character doesn't have any disabilities, but like they'll like rely on all of the senses, not just sight, because I mean, even I do this, but like writers rely so much on sight. There's so much more. Like if you look around yourself, and not just look around yourself, like listen to what is going on and all that, you will notice that it's not just what you see. So the point is that like look around yourself, listen to what's going on, focus on what you when you touch something, focus on what does it feel like. Is it cool, cold, warm, hot, soft, hard, rough, scratchy? I don't know. You know, think about all those things and then think about what your character is doing and try to like live in their head kinda. What do they are there any smells, scents? Um are there like can they taste something? You know? What can they see? What can they hear? What can they touch? What can they taste? What can they smell? You know, think about all those, like all of those, and use like concrete language, and don't use the verbs like she heard a thud echo through the hall or something. Don't use that. Like, no, unless you're like telling in like for example, if there's a time skip, usually you have to tell a little in the beginning of like the next scene, like kind of like say like a week passed, for example. But don't use telling when you shouldn't, basically. So, for example, when you are describing something, like trying to show your reader through your character's eyes, something like don't use hear, see, don't use those. Those are filter words. You don't need them. You can just kind of like explain like a thud echoed through the hall. His skin was smooth and warm. I don't know, the spoon was cool. Um, I don't know. You know, it depends what you're describing, but like try to be in the moment, in the scene, like through your character, and kind of like use concrete language to get your reader into that same scene. Obviously, sorry, there can be room for imagination. Um, like your reader's imagination, there can be room for that. Uh, but still, like you should still have enough. Like you should show your reader enough so that they are seeing what you are basically seeing just through their own like own eyes, kind of. Because obviously, like for example, some people assume a chair is like this, and some people may kind of imagine it a little bit different. It doesn't mean you have to explain what every chair in your story looks like, but I mean that's not the point. Unless it's some weird special chair, then go ahead and explain. But like give your reader enough, but not too much. But still, like give them enough of the senses and not just sight. Remember that, not just sight. Also, like what can they hear, what can they, all that. Focus on all of the five senses and not just sight, because that's the most common problem I see, and like a lot of writers just forget all the other senses, and I have done this too. So don't worry if you do it. You can fix it in the editing, like editing phase of your like writing process. Like in, you don't have to have it like right on your first draft or anything, but you will have to fix it if you don't have it right. By the way, I have Pro Writing Aid and I love it because it actually shows how much you use all of these five senses, and actually using that helped me a lot with like adding more than just sight onto my story. And I definitely recommend, like, I don't know, if you have Pro Writing Aid, definitely use it. I don't remember what the tool is called. It's like sensor something, sensor, I don't know, sensor something, I believe. Um, but if you have Pro Writing Aid, definitely try that. It helped me a ton. So yeah, what to remember: use all five senses, use concrete language, don't use filter words, and yeah, don't just rely on sight. That's the most important. Okay, that's not the most important one. Remember all those things and you'll be just fine. It's not actually that much to remember, but especially in editing phases, I actually have to really think about these things. So yeah, that's all for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any requests, comments, anything, don't hesitate to contact me. All the information is in the episode description, like all my social media, email, mailing list stuff. All that stuff is there, like my website. Yeah, everything is there. So check it out. And what else? What else? Yeah, I think that's all of it for now. Thank you so much for watching. And don't hesitate to request any, like, I don't know, episode topics or anything. I would love to, answer your questions or talk about a topic you want to hear about, or, you know. So yeah, don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you so much for watching or listening. I hope I see you in the next episode. Happy writing. Goodbye, creatives.